It was as if a worldly wind had penetrated his body, invading his heart and transforming his path. His original essence was reversed, and his spirit was unsettled. This was the manifestation of demonic possession. In the moment when Wang Lin's eyes cleared, a flash of shock passed through his gaze. Given his cultivation level and his unyielding resolve in the pursuit of the Tao, what he had just experienced could only be described as a calamity. The most terrifying part of memories is not recalling them, but when they engulf your mind completely, making it impossible to extricate yourself. Normally, Wang Lin would never have fallen into such a state, but after his possession by the demon, despite having sealed and suppressed the demon's influence, traces of demonic thoughts still subtly lingered within his body. These demonic thoughts were the very cause that stirred Wang Lin's memories. Among ancient cultivators, there were tales of external demons entering the body. It was said that when a cultivator communicated with the heavens and comprehended the Tao, some outer demons, in the form of countless manifestations, would blend into the void, disappearing without a trace. Disappearing without a trace, in another sense, meant that these demons were everywhere, lurking in all places. The entry of outer demons into the body would ignite the fire of Tao within a cultivator, burning their essence spirit, thus seizing their wisdom and life, and ruining their path. In the eyes of ancient cultivators, these outer demons were terrifying beings. A single misstep could lead to demonic possession, resulting in a lifetime of regret. With the decline of the ancient cultivation world and the emergence of the Cultivation Alliance, the tales of outer demons gradually faded. What remained were systematic analyses and rational calculations. As to whether these outer demons truly existed, the Cultivation Alliance gave a negative answer. They believed that demonic possession was the result of demonic thoughts arising within the body, conflicting with the Tao comprehended by the cultivator. This inner turmoil caused a disharmony between the yin and yang, leading to a destabilized Tao heart, which then manifested as illusory thoughts from the mind. Wang Lin had just gone through such an experience, especially the impulse to return to the vermilion bird star, which was a peak manifestation of the demonic thoughts within him. If this continued, Wang Lin might have slowly awakened on his own, but the time frame for that was uncertain. The appearance of the demon soldiers, especially the release of their demon power, provided Wang Lin with an opportunity for a breakthrough. As the 6 demon soldiers unleashed their power in the tavern, Wang Lin was struck and, for a brief moment, his mind returned to clarity. Though it lasted only an instant, it was enough for Wang Lin to take action. Without hesitation, the demon crystal within his body erupted, sending its demon power coursing through him. The clash between this and his immortal power formed a vortex within his body, a fusion of demon power and immortal power. In the land of demonic spirits, for outside cultivators, demon power served as a substitute for immortal jade. When integrated into immortal power, it could increase the strength of the latter. Wang Lin had previously refrained from merging them, waiting for the right opportunity. Now, as he fused them, it triggered the external demon power, which in an instant consumed the demon power of the 6 soldiers entirely. This entire process felt long, but in reality, it took only a moment. Inside the tavern, when Shursan saw Wang Lin return to normal, he breathed a sigh of relief. In his mind, as long as Wang Lin was present, nothing could go wrong. He immediately moved behind Wang Lin, his cold gaze fixed on the demon soldiers within the tavern. Hu Pao's nervousness dissipated as he waved his right hand, retracting the soul banner and standing beside Wang Lin. At this moment, the 6 demon soldiers, now devoid of their demon power, were weak and trembling. Fear was evident in their eyes as they looked at Wang Lin. "Who are you?" The man with a gloomy expression stood up, his voice low and heavy. Wang Lin picked up the wine jar that hadn't been opened on the table, standing up without even glancing at the man, and walked towards the tavern's exit. Shursan took out some demon stones from his robe, placing them on the table, before following Wang Lin out. As for Hu Pao, he gave the demon soldiers a cold smile, and then followed Wang Lin. The man with the dark expression slammed his hand on the table and shouted, "Stop!" He stepped forward, releasing a surge of immense demon power, which immediately enveloped the entire tavern in a dense aura of demon qi. This demon qi seemed almost tangible, quickly transforming into sharp, long swords in the void. With the intense aura of the demons, they rapidly flew towards Wang Lin and the others. Wang Lin turned around. His eyes flashed with a cold light as he glanced at the man. With a wave of his right hand, a strange wind suddenly appeared, and the long swords formed from the demon chi dissipated the moment they approached. "We will meet again," Wang Lin said coldly before walking out of the tavern. The man's eyes narrowed as he stared at Wang Lin's retreating figure, deep in thought. After exiting the tavern, Wang Lin didn't head elsewhere, but instead quickly returned to his inn room. Sitting cross-legged, he began circulating his immortal power, carefully searching within his body. The earlier experience in the tavern had made him aware of the danger of demonic possession. He had previously underestimated its effects. Now, with a calm and focused mind, he searched his body thoroughly, soon discovering faint traces of demonic thoughts in multiple locations. Each time he found a trace of these thoughts, Wang Lin immediately expelled them. It wasn't until 2 days later, early in the morning, when his immortal power had circulated through several full cycles without finding any trace of demonic thoughts, that he finally sighed in relief. At this moment, 3 black, cotton-like orbs floated in front of him. These 3 small spheres were the demon thoughts he had expelled from his body. These demon thoughts, though a pity to discard, could be used cleverly to undermine others' cultivation techniques, making it nearly impossible for them to defend. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed sharply as he reached out with his right hand and drew the 3 orbs into his storage pouch. 7 days are drawing near. The demon general once mentioned someone would take me to the military camp. Wang Lin thought deeply, his expression shifting as he raised his head toward the door. Not long after, the voice of 13 could be heard from outside. "Ancestor, someone requests an audience." Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged, his tone calm as he replied, "Let them in." As soon as the words left his mouth, the door was pushed open, and 13, along with Hu Hao, entered with a man. This man appeared to be in his 40s, dressed in black clothes, with a gaunt face. As soon as he stepped into the room, a cold, chilling aura spread around him. His gaze immediately locked onto Wang Lin, who was sitting cross-legged on the bed. After scrutinizing him briefly, the man cupped his fists and said, "Greetings, Commander Wang. I am the military advisor to the Demon General, sent by the Demon General to bring you to the assigned military camp. However, before we proceed, please present your token, Commander." Wang Lin's right hand brushed across his storage pouch, and a bronze token appeared in his palm. He tossed it forward. The military advisor caught the token, examined it carefully, and nodded. He returned it to Wang Lin, and then bit his fingertip, drawing a symbol in the air. Instantly, a blood-red formation appeared in front of him. The formation was incredibly intricate, but to Wang Lin, it followed a discernible pattern. "Teleportation array." Wang Lin muttered softly as he retrieved the token. The military advisor looked up at Wang Lin and said, "Commander Wang, your perception is remarkable. This is indeed a teleportation array, though it differs from the formations used by cultivators. This one was personally created by the Demon Emperor, designed for point-to-point teleportation." After speaking, he took a step forward and walked into the blood-red formation, vanishing without a trace. Now, only Wang Lin and the 2 others remained in the room. 13's expression hardened, and he stepped forward into the formation first. He had sworn an oath to protect the ancestor with his life, and with the mysterious nature of this formation, he was willing to risk his life to test it. Seeing 13's actions, Wang Lin nodded inwardly. He rose to his feet and stepped forward, entering the formation. Hu Hao muttered under his breath, but followed Wang Lin closely. On the other side of the formation, the moment Wang Lin stepped forward, a thunderous, synchronized roar filled the air, like a violent storm crashing from all directions, booming across the room. 13, who had stepped out first, showed a trace of shock in his eyes. The sound struck him like a physical force, and he staggered back several steps, his face turning pale. He had already been injured, and now this shock made his blood surge uncontrollably. A mouthful of fresh blood erupted from his mouth. As for Hu Hao, he had not been injured previously, but his body was not as sturdy as 13's. Under the impact of this sound wave, his ears rang violently, and his demon power immediately scattered, rushing wildly through his veins. His face turned ashen. If the ancestor had not been by his side, he would have immediately seated himself to stabilize his demon power. But, unwilling to lose face in front of the ancestor, he gritted his teeth and endured, even though the turbulent flow of demon power grew fiercer the harder he resisted. At this moment, a gentle force from the outside world enveloped him. Almost instantly, Hu Hao's demon power seemed to recognize its ancestor, calming down obediently and swiftly returning to its normal state within his meridians. Wang Lin's right hand lifted from Hu Hao's shoulder. He took a step forward, and a surge of immortal power flowed from him into 13, circulating through his blood and flesh. 13 immediately felt lighter, his injuries slightly healed. After performing these actions, Wang Lin surveyed his surroundings. They had arrived in a military camp made of black stone, with a radius of about 100 miles. Beyond that, towering city walls stood, reaching several dozen meters in height. The walls were teeming with waves of demon power, indicating the presence of magical protections. Wang Lin had appeared at the very center of the military camp. Within 100 paces of him, rows of demon soldiers, clad in black armor, stood straight as statues. Dark aura irradiated from them, transforming them into terrifying figures. The demon soldiers were grouped into battalions, with 10 battalions neatly arranged, immediately surrounding Wang Lin. The air was thick with a killing intent, overwhelming and palpable. The murderous aura from 10,000 soldiers was so intense that it was beyond the imagination of ordinary people. Each of these soldiers possessed demon power, no less than 30 units of strength, with some even exceeding hundreds of units. Moreover, these soldiers were battle-hardened, each one having taken countless lives, and their killing intent had fused with their very bones over time. Amidst this overwhelming killing aura, the atmosphere turned eerily silent, an unsettling silence that seemed to vibrate with a terrifying tension. 10,000 pairs of eyes were now fixed on one man, their gaze a concentrated focal point of murderous intent. Each of these 10,000 gazes was as lethal as a flying sword. Wang Lin stood at the very center, calm and composed, showing not the slightest hint of unease. He met the 10,000 gazes upon him with nothing but eyes gleaming with a chilling light. The military advisor let out a faint, almost imperceptible sneer in his eyes. He coughed lightly, glanced around at the black armored demon soldiers, and shouted, "Where is Commander Sima?" At his words, the sound of pounding hooves echoed from the distance. A massive beast, pitch black and bearing a single horn on its forehead, came charging forward like a howling tempest, kicking up a storm of dust in its wake. Atop the beast stood a man clad entirely in black armor, marked with purple engravings. His black helmet covered his face, but from the only exposed part, his eyes, a murderous intent surged forth without restraint. When Wang Lin had first appeared, a flash of surprise had flickered in this man's eyes, but it was instantly replaced by intense killing intent. He thundered in, and the surrounding demon soldiers quickly parted to open a path. He rode straight toward Wang Lin. 30 zhang from the center, his beast let out a roar and came to a halt. Though the beast stopped, the dust it stirred up billowed outward. With a flick of his sleeve, the military advisor summoned a gust of wind that swept the dust away. He looked at the man in black armor and said, "This is the new commander. Vice Commander Sima, why haven't you greeted him?" He deliberately emphasized the word vice. The man in black armor cast a dark glare at Wang Lin and said in a grim voice, "Sima Yin greets the commander." Wang Lin remained calm. He glanced at the man and replied flatly, "We've already met." Sima Yin snorted coldly and removed his helmet. It was the same sullen man from the tavern earlier. The military advisor's expression turned unreadable. He cupped his fists to Wang Lin and said, "Commander Wang, since you've arrived, I'll take my leave. I must report back to Lord Demon General." Wang Lin smiled and replied, "Many thanks, Lord Advisor." With a slight nod, the military advisor stepped forward and vanished into the formation once more. The moment he left, silence fell over the entire military camp. Only the sound of breathing remained. Sima Yin looked coolly at Wang Lin and said, "Commander, all 10,000 black armor demon soldiers are present. except for 6 who remained unconscious and unable to report. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged. He glanced around at the surrounding demon soldiers. In their eyes, he saw only disdain and hostility. A cold gleam flashed in his gaze as he said slowly, "Stand down." Not a single soldier moved. Their gazes all fell in unison upon Sima Yan. Without a word from Sima Yan, they would not follow anyone's command, even if that person was the newly appointed commander. Wang Lin didn't even glance at them again. He walked away, passing through the 10 phalanxes. 13 and Tiger Roar followed closely behind, both their faces grim and silent. After the 3 left, thunderous laughter erupted among the 10 phalanxes. The laughter brimmed with disdain and contempt. Only Sima Yan did not laugh. His brow furrowed. He didn't know much about this new commander, but he was certain, if it had been him, he would never have walked away so calmly. He would have raised hell, stand down, and resume training. Sima Yan barked, frowning. His voice was low, but to the demon soldiers, it sounded like thunder. The 10,000 troops instantly fell into formation, beginning coordinated drills. Within the camp, beyond rows of barracks, there was a modest dwelling. Protected by a formation, a black banner stood solemnly beside it. On the flag, 2 characters were stitched in gold. Sima. Clearly, this was Sima Yan's residence. Nearby were ruins of other buildings, evidence that this place once held more than one dwelling. Tiger Roar, upon hearing the distant mocking laughter of the demon soldiers, grew furious and said angrily, "Ancestor, these demon soldiers are pushing us too far." Wang Lin remained composed and said blandly, "Ignore them. Since there's no place for us to stay here, we'll cultivate out in the open." With that, he found a clear space, sat cross-legged, and began regulating his breathing. Tiger Roar suppressed his anger, cast a cold glance at the demon soldiers dispersing in the distance, snorted, and sat down on Wang Lin's left side to keep guard. Though 13's expression remained dark, his eyes were calm as still water. He didn't concern himself with the soldiers' contempt. All he knew was that if Wang Lin gave the word, he would strike without hesitation, even at the cost of his life. He sat cross-legged on Wang Lin's right, closed his eyes, and began cultivating the body refinement art of the giant demon clan. Time passed, and night fell. Throughout the day, the 10,000 demon soldiers continued their training. Their drills emphasized actual combat and coordination through formation. When they occasionally swept past Wang Lin, their eyes were thick with scorn. In response, Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged, as calm as a still pond, with no ripples to disturb its surface. Zhao Sen had been mimicking Wang Lin, and at this moment, he too sat in meditation, his eyes closed. Though his mind stirred with waves of emotion a few times, he ultimately suppressed them. Only Hu Hao could not remain calm. For the entire day, he was unable to meditate peacefully. His eyes constantly flickered with cold intent as they swept over the demon soldiers passing by. Wang Lin not only appeared calm on the surface, but his mind was also as tranquil as water. He didn't rush to take charge of the situation. Instead, he observed. Though he had been meditating for the day, his divine sense quietly and silently swept through the crowd of over 10,000, carefully noting each individual. Every 1,000-man formation had a commander, and among the 10 commanders, most were trusted aides of Sima Yan. As for the 6 demon soldiers he had seen at the tavern that day, though their cultivation was average, they clearly held some prestige within the military. The reason Wang Lin did not act immediately was because he was deeply familiar with the rules and the demon soldiers of the 9 prefectures of the land of demonic spirits. This knowledge came from records left by his ancestors in Luo Yun's memory. The 9 prefectures of the land of demonic spirits placed heavy emphasis on military law, a sharp contrast to the cultivation world. Here, unless one had cultivation capable of rivaling the demon emperor, one had to adhere to military regulations in order to gain strength from the army. For anyone entering this land of demons, the first step was to integrate into one of the 9 prefectures and gain control of military power. Only then could they establish a foothold. Without such status, if an individual encountered an opponent commanding tens of thousands of demon soldiers, that battle would already be lost. Though the soldiers' cultivation was not high, there were some experts among them. Moreover, These demon soldiers were skilled in formations, using various unpredictable tactics to kill, often catching their enemies off guard. What's more, if too many demon soldiers were killed, it would attract stronger figures, such as the commanders or demon generals of the prefectures. At that point, a solitary cultivator would no longer be able to hold a position in that prefecture. The only option would be to flee to another prefecture. But if they continued their reckless actions, they would find themselves constantly fleeing, one prefecture after another, until they were completely unable to move in the land of demonic spirits. Their only option then would be to find a place to retreat and cultivate in seclusion, but this would cost them any opportunity for military achievements, and thus, any chance of undergoing the ancient demon fusion. This understanding caused cultivators entering the land of demonic spirits to constantly seek ways to gain positions in the prefectures. To do so, however, they had to abide by military regulations. Breaking these regulations meant losing everything. Wang Lin was very clear about this. He knew that if he acted without proper justification, he would inevitably cause casualties. Furthermore, once the demon soldiers acknowledged a leader, even if he killed some of them, the situation would not be easily resolved. In the end, he would have violated the military regulations and failed to bring order. The only choice left would be to give up. Many powerful cultivators had failed precisely at this stage. After all, thousands entered this land, but after a series of eliminations, only a few could truly establish themselves. Some cultivators, with volatile tempers, would immediately take action when demon soldiers disobeyed orders. However, compared to the demon soldiers of the 9 prefectures, the cultivators were still outsiders, and the demon emperors of the various prefectures would not favor these outsiders. Thus, when outsiders were given positions, military regulations would apply. If one person disobeys orders, it is their fault. But if 10 disobey, the responsibility lies with their commander. The 10 in this rule had broad implications. It could refer to a 10-person team, or it could refer to any group of 10 people continuously disobeying orders. Therefore, Wang Lin did not hurry. He was like a hunter, waiting for an opportunity, a chance to take action and restore order all at once. Time passed quickly, and after 3 days of meditation on the open ground, Wang Lin remained undisturbed. Throughout these days, Zhao San remained calm, continuously memorizing the contents of the jade slip Wang Lin had given him 2 days earlier. However, Hu Hao became more and more irritable. Throughout these 3 days, increasingly more demon soldiers ignored the trio. In their eyes, the newly appointed commander seemed insignificant. But Sima Yan's vigilance grew. He had a persistent feeling that something was amiss. The new commander had completely exceeded his expectations. For the past 3 days, he had not intervened in any military matters and had not spoken a word. He spent the entire time sitting in meditation, as if in seclusion. If one of the new commander's attendants was constantly angry and their eyes filled with murderous intent, Sima Yan's vigilance would increase further. He wasn't afraid of the commander taking action, getting angry, or intervening in military affairs. He had ways to make the commander look foolish or even force them to leave. What truly worried him was this silent, inscrutable calm. What is this new commander really thinking? Sima Yan muttered to himself in his room, surrounded by 8 people, his commanders. Lord Commander, Su Yu and Zhou Kai are rarely in contact with us on a daily basis, and they didn't even show up after you summoned us. What do you think? One of the 8, a burly bald man, spoke in a deep voice while sitting aside. This man wore black armor that exuded an air of authority. On his bald head was a scorpion totem that looked unervingly lifelike, as if it might spring to life at any moment, stirring discomfort in anyone who gazed upon it. Sima Yan rubbed his brow. These past 3 days had felt like years. The more Wang Lin remained silent, the stronger the sense of danger grew within him. Let's set aside the matter of those 2 for now. The reason I've called you here today is to hear your opinions about this new commander. We are all our own here, so speak freely, Sima Yan said in a low tone. To be precise, he didn't think much of any outsiders. Commander Sun, you are mistaken. This new commander must be a person with great cunning. Over the past few days, he has remained calm and unmoved, a rare trait indeed. An elderly man with graying hair, seated below Sima Yan, spoke in a low voice. Though old, The man wore black armor, giving him an aura of unwavering strength despite his age. Commander Sun snorted in disdain and said, "You're overthinking it." Opinions about Wang Lin were discussed one by one, but in the end, no unified decision emerged. Sima Yin rubbed his brow and said solemnly, "Enough. Remember this. Do not provoke him for now. Over time, I don't believe he can remain this calm. If he makes the first move, we'll have a plan to deal with him." Time passed, and half a month went by as Wang Lin remained in the military camp. During these 2 weeks, he did not make a single move, spending every day meditating with his eyes closed, as if the camp had become his place of cultivation. 13's mindset gradually became calm, meditating alongside Wang Lin. However, Tiger Roar's inner fury grew day by day. If not for some restraint, he might have already summoned the soul banner and fought. Wang Lin's silence only deepened the contempt the thousands of demon soldiers felt toward him. Yet, Wang Lin paid no heed to any of this. One day, during a drill in the camp, a 1,000-strong demon soldier formation led by Commander Sun passed by the spot where Wang Lin sat in meditation. Without hiding it, Commander Sun cast a look of contempt and disdain at the new commander, clearly looking down on him from the bottom of his heart. As he passed, he spat on the ground and arrogantly muttered, "Useless." The demon soldiers in the formation, seeing their commander's actions and hearing his words, burst into laughter, their mockery thick with contempt. Just as the spit hit the ground, Wang Lin opened his eyes. His gaze was calm, and his voice was even quieter as he slowly spoke. "Commander Sun, what did you say?" Commander Sun froze. This was the first time Wang Lin had spoken in the past half-month. A cold smile crept across Sun's face as he arrogantly said, "I said that you're a useless piece of..." Before he could finish, Wang Lin's eyes flashed coldly. A faint, meaningful smile appeared on his lips. In the blink of an eye, his right hand shot up like lightning, and an invisible force immediately surged in the air. Commander Sun's body was instantly restrained by this invisible power and was yanked toward Wang Lin without any resistance. His face changed drastically as he tried to struggle, but no matter how much he struggled, even releasing his demon power, the invisible force binding him was as tight as an iron trap and refused to loosen, only growing tighter. In an instant, his body was lifted and pinned in the air, caught by Wang Lin's hand around his neck. "You?" Sun's face turned a deep shade of red as the pressure on his neck felt like the grip of death, choking him. Though he was in this perilous situation, he glared fiercely at Wang Lin, unwilling to believe that the man would dare to kill him. However, deep in his heart, a sense of fear began to rise. With just one move, he was utterly powerless against Wang Lin. Such power was something even Commander Sima might not possess. Seeing their commander captured, the 1,000 black-armored demon soldiers immediately rushed toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed coldly, and he softly said, 13, the 8th rule of the Heavenly Demon Province's military code. Recite it. 13 had been memorizing the contents of the Jade Slip for the past few days. Upon hearing Wang Lin's question, he immediately recited, "Those who defy authority shall be executed." Commander Sun's body trembled as an ominous feeling surged within him. He tried to struggle and speak, but Wang Lin's grip on his neck prevented him from saying a single coherent word. A cold glint flashed in Wang Lin's eyes as a sinister smile curled at the corner of his lips. His right hand suddenly exerted force, and with a sharp crack, the battalion commander Sun, whose surname was Sun, let out no sound and immediately had his neck crushed by Wang Lin. At the same time, Wang Lin's immortal power surged out uncontrollably, rushing directly into the man's body, instantly destroying all his cultivation. Even as he died, there was still an expression of disbelief in Sun's eyes. He never imagined that the newly appointed commander would truly dare to strike with lethal force. Grabbing the corpse, Wang Lin took a deep breath, and in an instant, strands of demon aura began to drift out from the 7 orifices of the body, which Wang Lin swiftly absorbed into his own body. This all happened in the blink of an eye, just as Wang Lin finished speaking his 13 words. Without hesitation, he killed the man. At this moment, the demon soldiers rushing forward paused, their eyes flashing with anger. Some of the more perceptive ones immediately shifted their gaze, and their expressions changed upon seeing Wang Lin. Without a word, Wang Lin tossed the corpse of Battalion Commander Sun in front of the demon soldiers. His cold gaze swept over them, and his silence spoke volumes. The body hit the ground with a thud, landing right before the demon soldiers. As they looked into Sun's unblinking, lifeless eyes, the demon soldiers he had led began to burn with fury. One of the demon soldiers immediately roared, "Brothers, avenge the battalion commander!" With those words, over half of the 1,000 demon soldiers immediately joined in, yelling in anger and rushing forward without hesitation, releasing their demon aura. In their eyes, Wang Lin was now their sworn enemy. The cold light in Wang Lin's eyes deepened, and he whispered, daring to defy authority. A sinister smile appeared on his lips. He didn't even rise from his sitting position, simply tapping his storage pouch. Instantly, his immortal sword materialized in his hand, and with a sweep, a sword radiance flashed out like the splitting of the heavens. Simultaneously, the crescent blade followed closely behind, charging straight into the midst of the demon soldiers. The sounds of anguished cries echoed as the sword radiance effortlessly sliced through the demon soldiers with cultivation levels around core formation. It was like flipping a hand. As for the crescent blade, in just one flash, the heads of several demon soldiers fell to the ground. The chaos immediately caught the attention of other demon soldiers from different squads within the military camp. They turned their gazes to their own battalion commanders, and the 9 remaining battalion commanders quickly charged toward Wang Lin's position, followed by their demon soldiers. "Stop!" One of the 9 battalion commanders roared loudly. 100 miles was not far, and in no time, the 9,000 demon soldiers came barreling toward Wang Lin, a cloud of dust rising as they rushed forward. Wang Lin didn't even glance at them. He spread his arms wide, and within his body, both immortal power and demon power began to whirl, creating a vortex. He suddenly sucked in deeply, and at once, the demon power from the hundreds of demon soldiers that had just been slain by the immortal sword and crescent blade surged out of their bodies, flying toward Wang Lin, who absorbed it all into his own body. The demon power was thick and rich, swirling through the air like a hurricane. Wang Lin stood in the center of it all, and as the 9,000 demon soldiers approached, he had already fully absorbed the power. With a flick of his right hand, the immortal sword and crescent blade returned to him, spinning above his head, emitting the ringing sounds of blades. In just this brief moment, over half of the 1,000 demon soldiers under Battalion Commander Sun's command had died. The remaining soldiers quickly fell back. The anger in their eyes dissipated, replaced by a deep, hidden fear and a thirst for vengeance. The 9 battalion commanders, dressed in full black armor, marched forward, their eyes immediately falling on the corpse of Battalion Commander Sunday. Behind them, the 9,000 demon soldiers spread out, surrounding Wang Lin, their killing intent quickly filling the air. This was not just a simple encirclement, it was a formation, and the target of this formation was Wang Lin himself. 13 and Tiger Roar immediately stood up, their eyes flashing coldly. Especially Tiger Roar, who licked his lips and took out all of his soul banners, glaring coldly at the surroundings. Wang Lin remained sitting cross-legged on the ground, unfazed by the recent killings. Even now, as the 9,000 demon soldiers surrounded him, his expression remained calm. He spoke softly. "Are you all also going to defy authority?" The 9 battalion commanders felt a chill run down their spines. The bloodstains on the ground, the severed limbs, and the discarded heads were still fresh, and the sight turned their perceptions of Wang Lin upside down. When they heard his words, they exchanged looks, but none of them spoke. At that moment, a roar came from the distance. It was Sima Yin, charging forward like a gust of wind. He leaped over countless demon soldiers, and in the blink of an eye, he was at the front. The blood and remains on the ground darkened his expression, making it as cold as water. He had been meditating when he sensed the disturbance in the military camp. Immediately, he ended his meditation and informed the military advisor using a secret technique. He had waited until Wang Lin was surrounded before finally stepping out. "Commander, no matter the reason, you killed Battalion Commander Sun and then slaughtered your own demon soldiers. This matter, I will not let go easily," Sima Yin said in a low voice. Wang Lin remained composed, offering a slight smile as he replied. 13th. Recite the 13th military regulation of the Heavenly Demon Province. 13th immediately responded. Anyone who stirs up a military camp and surrounds it shall retreat within 30 breaths. If they do not, they will be executed. Second military regulation of the Heavenly Demon Province. Recite it. Anyone who uses an immortal level formation without permission shall disperse within 20 breaths, or it will be deemed a major crime. Wang Lin's expression was calm, while Sima Yan's face grew even darker. He quickly realized that the reason Wang Lin had made no move in the past half-month was because he was waiting for the moment when a single action could ensure that everyone was doomed without escape. Of the 9 battalion commanders, 3 immediately stepped back. These 3 exchanged glances, each recognizing the caution in the other's eyes. They did not wish to get involved in this battle for command. 13th, start the timer. Wang Lin closed his eyes, not even glancing at Sima Yan. 13th's gaze remained steady as he slowly spoke. 13 breaths have passed. 16, 15, 14, 13. His words were a command throughout the entire camp. The surrounding 9,000 demon soldiers immediately scattered, breaking the encirclement and rendering the formation useless. At that moment, in the center of the camp, a dense blood-red light flashed. The gaunt figure of the military advisor appeared slowly. He was not alone. An elderly man, wearing rough cloth, followed behind him. His long, silver hair flowed in the air, and as he stood, everything around him seemed to shift in response. The moment the elderly man appeared, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes. His gaze pierced through the demon soldiers ahead and landed directly on the elderly man. The elderly man also focused his gaze, locking eyes with Wang Lin. When their gazes met, Wang Lin's mind shook, but he quickly regained his composure. Inside the elderly man's body, he saw 4 seals. The elderly man staggered, his eyes flashing with a brilliant light. His inner shock was immense. Wang Lin's gaze nearly caused the seals within him to collapse. The military advisor immediately took a step forward, vanishing and reappearing several dozen feet in front of Wang Lin, with the elderly man doing the same. The gaunt face of the military advisor showed no change upon seeing the wreckage on the ground. Advisor, the commander killed battalion commander's son without reason and slaughtered 500 demon soldiers. Everyone here witnessed it. Sima Yan immediately spoke up. Wang Lin waved his right hand, sending a jade slip flying directly to the military advisor, who caught it. He looked down, and as demon power flowed into it, images began to appear in his mind. These images showed the full story of the events. The military advisor gave Wang Lin a meaningful glance. His initial contempt for Wang Lin vanished entirely, replaced by a desire to ally with him. Wang Lin's series of actions had seized the initiative, putting him in an invincible position. A smile spread across the military advisor's face as he said, "Commander Wang, my apologies. I will report this matter to the demon general. As for those who defy authority, they should be punished accordingly." He bowed to Wang Lin with a smile, then left. The elderly man also bowed, saying, "Commander Wang, your cultivation is remarkable. I admire you." After they left, Sima Yan stood in silence for a long time before respectfully addressing Wang Lin. "This matter was my rashness. I hope the commander will not take offense." As soon as he said this, the other battalion commanders exchanged glances, with one hesitating before respectfully saying to Wang Lin, "I too acted rashly." Soon, all the battalion commanders voiced similar sentiments. From the beginning, the outcome of this situation was clear. The people here were not fools, and by now, they had all seen through Wang Lin's methods. This new commander, when he refrains from acting, does so with complete restraint. But once he strikes, it is with a thunderous force. If the infighting continues, who knows, perhaps one day, the incident with battalion commander's son will repeat itself. Moreover, judging by his cultivation, even if Sima Yan took action, it would likely be impossible to defeat him. As a result, many in the camp were mentally compromising. Wang Lin stood up, and with a wave of his right hand, the ground trembled. The entire military camp shook as if a great dragon were stirring beneath it. The earth itself lowered by an inch. The excess earth beneath Wang Lin's feet surged up like a spring, and dust flew everywhere, shrouding the sky. In the blink of an eye, a two-story pavilion made of earth and stone rose up from the ground. It was a simple structure, yet it exuded an aura of authority and dignity. With a single movement, Wang Lin cut away a piece of land from the military camp 100 miles away, transforming it into a tower. This display of power not only shook Sima Yan and the others, but also sent a ripple of fear through the 9,000 demon soldiers. "Everyone retreat," Wang Lin said calmly, before turning and walking into the tower. 13 followed closely behind, while Tiger Roar sneered at the group, then turned and followed as well. Inside, he felt an immense satisfaction. After half a month of build-up, he was finally releasing it all today. His respect for Wang Lin grew even deeper. After Wang Lin and the others entered the tower, Sima Yan clenched his fists and turned away without a word. As for the 9 battalion commanders, they exchanged glances and made up their minds, each of them stepping back. From that day onward, 8 battalion commanders who had frequent contact with Sima Yan slowly distanced themselves from him, except for the one with the son's surname who died. Only 3 remained closely connected, while the other 4 gradually cut ties with him. From that day forward, within the Black Armor barracks, Wang Lin's figure became clearer in the hearts of all the demon soldiers. Since becoming the commander, Wang Lin had not issued a single order, but his authority had gradually been established at a bloody cost. There were 16 military camps in the ancient demon city, all marked by black armor, though with slight differences. At this moment, in the 3rd military camp, Yao Xixue was sitting cross-legged in her room, quietly meditating. In the dead of night, Yao Xixue opened her eyes, and a bright light flickered within them. Outside the window, a demon moon shone with a purple light. Tonight was the time of the purple demon ascendance, an event that occurred once every 6 months in this land of demonic spirits. According to legend, during this time, the heavens and earth would connect as one. No one truly understood the details of this, as the story had been passed down from ancient times, and the explanation was always vague. She took a deep breath, stood up, and after scanning the surroundings with her divine sense, she reached into her storage pouch. A red compass instantly appeared in her hand. Staring at the compass, hesitation appeared in her eyes. "I've been there 3 times already, but each time I stopped at the same place. My father once mentioned that to enter, my cultivation must reach the peak level. According to the plan he gave me, if I absorb enough demon power here and break through to the peak, I would have an 80% chance of success with the help of the Blood Soul Pill. But this time, a strange token appeared during the tidal surge." Yao Xixue furrowed her brows, holding the compass and pondering. That place was something my father learned about when he and Tian Yunzi entered the land of demonic spirits. They heard it from a demon emperor, but he didn't have time to investigate before he left with Tian Yunzi to the tidal abyss. Based on his analysis over the years, there is a 60% chance that it's real. Forget it. I'll go again. If I still can't enter, I'll have to wait until I reach the peak. After all, my father made the Blood Soul Pills. I've used 3 of them in the last 3 attempts, leaving only 6 left. Time here is long, and I can't waste them all. Each Blood Soul Pill is a chance to revive. Yao Xixue's eyes revealed a look of determination. She was already an incredibly beautiful woman, but at this moment, with her resolute gaze, she radiated a unique grace, quite captivating. She gently placed the compass on the ground, then reached into her storage pouch again, pulling out a wax pill. The white wax pill was covered with rows of fine runes that flickered slowly, as if in sync with the rhythm of breathing and heartbeat, creating a mysterious atmosphere. Yao Xixue took a deep breath, crushed the wax pill, and in the instant it shattered, a drop of blue blood swiftly floated out from within. The wax pill had sealed the blue blood inside. Without hesitation, Yao Xixue bit her fingertip, squeezed out a drop of blood, and it instantly transformed into a complex rune in the air. As soon as the rune appeared, it merged with the blue blood. A moment later, Yao Xixue grabbed the rune and pressed it onto her forehead. The rune embedded itself in her brow, and a brief expression of pain crossed her face. After some time, the pain gradually faded. Gasping for breath, she lifted her finger, and in an instant, the rune released from her forehead and turned back into blue blood, floating in the air. With a wave of her hand, the blue blood vanished without a trace. Then, she clenched her teeth and stepped forward, pressing her foot on the compass on the ground. A soft glow flashed, and a large number of runes appeared on the compass, spiraling and filling the room. This continued for 3 breaths. After that, Yao Xixue and the compass both disappeared. As time slowly passed, Wang Lin's life remained unchanged. He spent his days meditating and rarely left his room, gradually refining the demon power in his body into immortal energy, steadily improving his cultivation and progressing toward the late infant metamorphosis stage. There is a law in the world that is always accurate. The reason that emperors in the mortal world are so respected and feared by their ministers is precisely because of distance, because of the mystery surrounding them. In the eyes of the officials, the emperor, high above, is unattainable and incomprehensible. This is what creates their authority. At this moment, Wang Lin was inside the black armor military camp, just like this. He rarely made an appearance, but his authority, day by day, gradually overshadowed Sima Yan, who was often seen in public without him even realizing it. In the past few months, Tiger Roar had been thriving within the military camp. His naturally cheerful personality made him well-liked, and although there had been some initial conflicts, those had gradually faded with time. As the days went by, his interactions with the battalion commanders became more frequent, especially with one named Su Yu, a woman whose presence made Tiger Roar's heart tremble the moment he laid eyes on her. From then on, he became exceedingly attentive toward her. On the other hand, 13 spent his days sitting cross-legged outside the attic, like a guardian deity meditating. He remained indifferent to anyone except Wang Lin. Months later, on this day, in the room of Yao Xixue at the 3rd military camp, a flash of blue light suddenly appeared out of nowhere, transforming into a series of blue runes. These runes spun rapidly, and at the center, a drop of blue blood seemed to be boiling, constantly swirling. Gradually, its boiling intensified, and then, in an instant, the blue blood expanded several times, forming a massive blue blood orb. The surrounding runes spun faster, and after a brief moment, they all came to a sudden stop, as though they had sensed a summons. They all flew toward the large blue blood orb, merging into it one by one. When the last rune fused with it, the blue blood orb immediately began to contract, not entirely, but enough to form a graceful figure within its shrinking mass. This process didn't take long, about 5 breaths, before it was completed. The blue blood orb vanished, replaced by a fully naked woman. She was breathtakingly beautiful, her body perfectly shaped with mesmerizing curves that captivated the heart. It was Yao Xixue. Another failure. If it weren't for this blood soul pill, I would have died 4 times already. But this time, I have broken through most of it. If someone were here to assist me, I would definitely succeed. Yao Xixue opened her eyes and sighed softly. But then, her gaze sharpened, and she fell into deep thought. If someone were to assist me, Wang Lin,